Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marcus White.
And my name is Fight Mode Nick Cavalli, and you can see my beautiful face now that my hat's on backwards.
And we welcome you, as always, to the Wrevolution.
To the Wrevolution.
We
did
it! Hey! So, this is the Wednesday Night Wars. As always, we will be covering All Elite Wrestling Dynamite and WWE's NXT. And NXT was actually good this week.
I'm going to stop you right there. Look, this is great. This is fantastic. I'm just not feeling it from you. I'm just not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do us, and by us I mean myself and every single member of Team Fight Mode a favor, and I'm going to introduce you all to the chairman of Team Fight Mode.
Oh, the chairman of all 2 members of Team Fight Mode. Oh, I can't wait. Who are you going to bring on? Is it your mom? Is it your mom? I can't wait to see Miss Cavalli.
It's not my mom.
What? What the hell? Griffin?
Hey, what's up? You asked for another AEW stand?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I figure it would be worth bringing the chairman of Team Fight Mode onto the show today to help us out dealing with this NXT loser.
Alright then. So yes, we've got our AEW correspondent, Griffin Hanspaw. Welcome to the show. So yeah, I guess we'll...
One of our good friends, chairman of Team Fight Mode, he is Team Fight Mode, let's be honest.
Yeah. You're right, I am Team Fight Mode, so...
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and kick things off then with All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. And once again, they had a pretty good show this week, taking full advantage of the fact that there are no fans in the crowd, that things are a little different. So we'll just go ahead and...
Goofy.
Just a little goofy.
So we kick things off. We're, of course, live from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. JR, Taz, and Excalibur all at home taking care of themselves and their families. Nobody is feeling under the weather. They say that they just didn't make it to the episode. Tony Schiavone, Kenny Omega, and the American Nightmare Cody are on commentary for this episode. And honestly, I didn't know I needed that.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes as a commentator was fantastic tonight, which obviously I think having former wrestlers, or in his case current wrestlers, on commentary is always great because they have insight that regular announcers just don't have. They know the names of all the moves. Looking at you, Tony, sometimes. And so it was nice to have a different perspective on some of the matches. He definitely provided insight, and especially the way he would really go in depth with each person. Like the way he talked about Darby Allin was fantastic tonight. So
it was so nice to hear him talk about, Darby and all those different competitors that he's faced, and just talk about how good they are in the ring and working with them.
And giving a bit of a rub, if you will, to guys like Kip Sabian. Like Kip Sabian's kind of faltering in this roster because there's so many huge talents. But Kip Sabian's a fantastic talent in and of himself.
Yes.
So we kick things off a little bit awkward as Cody immediately goes from commentary to in the tunnel.
Yeah,
in the ring.
He says while he's on commentary, Tony looks at him and goes, "Well, Cody, you got a match. It's actually first against Jimmy Havoc." So he's like, "Oh, I want to go through the tunnel." So he gets up and runs through the tunnel, does his entrance.
Good, I'm doing the whole thing.
Yep. A little bit of audio sync issues as when Cody's Titantron came up, there was no theme song there at first, but they fixed it. Cody gets in the ring, and then out comes Jimmy Havoc. So then for the first match, it was just Kenny Omega and Tony Schiavone on commentary. But even Kenny still provided very good insight, though he talked in his, normal quiet voice the entire time. So
He was very Kenny Omega the whole time.
Yes.
And it was beautiful. Because talk about, the elite, we want to do the best that we possibly can. We're worried about being even-headed or level-headed and even-keeled. And and of course, Cody, he didn't necessarily go against what Kenny said, but he wasn't exactly sitting there going, yes, we will fight extremely clean against the Inner Circle. But Kenny being the ultimate babyface, and of course Jimmy Havoc. We haven't seen him on Dynamite in quite a while, but over on AEW Dark, he has picked up an undefeated 3-0 record to start the year of 2020.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of annoyed that, first of all, I love Jimmy Havoc. I think we all do. So to see him kind of get fed to the machine in a sense, losing to Cody Rhodes, right, was a little annoying to say the least. I mean, I get that. I get what they did. They built up Jimmy the entire match. They didn't make him look weak at all, but it was just...
Oh, yeah, he got his looks in, absolutely.
He looked fantastic in the ring with Cody.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen him, not fight Cody so he doesn't just take a random L. So, but no, it was
boy, was that an L, too.
Yeah, so funny enough, once again, Brandy Rhodes is the ring announcer this week. At one point, they actually, when they do her little, nameplate, it says mad as hell on top for Brandy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the couple ones that had. Another one was she's back. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and there was one point in this match where Cody grabs Jimmy Havoc, Jimmy Havoc grabs Cody. They go up to the announce table, and then Jimmy Havoc gets on commentary. He's like, hey, Cody, you're on commentary? No, I'm on commentary now. And then he, grabs him by the tongue and uppercuts him, and he's like, let's see how you can talk without a tongue. So that
was so brutal.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, look, it's Jimmy Havoc. We expect nothing less. But this dude is out of this world when it comes to that hardcore, hard-hitting style.
Oh, yeah.
Who would think to grab a guy by the tongue and then hit him under the chin?
Yeah, that was fantastic. I love Kenny's reaction. Did he just grab him by the tongue and punch him? Yes, Kenny, he did.
So, of course, Cody Rhodes comes away with a win here. Hits the crossroads and then hits it again.
2 crossroads.
For good measure, I guess.
Like an 8
Jimmy
roads crossing at once then, or just...
What was that, Griffin?
Yeah, it's kind of like the British flag.
Okay. I love how Kenny was just like, all right, that's enough, Cody.
Yeah. So Cody picks up the W. Jimmy Havoc doesn't look weak at any point really during this match, except maybe the fact that he was just absolutely out cold after the first crossroads. So I don't know. You didn't need to put away Jimmy Havoc.
It was kind of interesting how they kind of made him play the part of the heel in this match because, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I don't think Jimmy Havoc's a heel. At least not what I've seen of him. Maybe they've changed his character since he's been on Dark, but as far as I know, he's just a I like to F your shit up kind of character. So.
And that's kind of the thing. It depends on who he's facing. If he's facing a heel, he's a bona fide baby face because he's effing him up. But when he's facing like Cody or Kenny, it's like, oh no, you're not supposed to do that to Kenny. Why did you grab Cody's tongue and then uppercut him and just absolutely chop his tongue off?
Yeah, I guess.
I suppose those guys, they say that with Mankind a lot. It depended on who Mankind was facing based on what reaction he would get.
I guess. I mean, we will never know because there was no crowd there, so we don't know if the crowd would have been booing or not. I'd assume they'd have been cheering because everybody loves them some Jimmy Havoc. But next, we get a message from Jake the Snake Roberts to Cody. Says that Lance Archer wants a match. He wanted to be in AEW, and when AEW was forming, when the Wrevolution was forming, his phone didn't ring. The most brilliant mind in professional wrestling, wrestling's greatest mind, and he didn't get a call? And then Lance Archer didn't get a call. You saw the destruction that he was causing on the indie scene, and you don't want him in your company? But he knows why. It's because they were scared. So he looks in the camera, he goes, Cody, let's do it. Come on. Caesar, you can bring whoever. You can bring the old man, Arn Anderson. You can bring, what's her name? Samson's Delilah, or Caesar's Cleopatra, or Bill's Monica, whatever you want to go with that.
Yikes.
Someone sit down with us and give us something to sign that says, you'll meet us. Just once. Trust me. So, that was amazing. I love that.
And then you get the line that is so forced. How can you trust a snake? Look, I get that it's like the catchy part of his character from when he was in WWE. People used to say that all the how can you trust a snake? How can you? But come on, you didn't. I literally, as he said, "Come on, trust me," I was like, "Oh God, can't trust a snake."
Coming.
Yeah. What do you think about this, Griffin? What do you think? We haven't. I mean, you've heard obviously through previous videos my opinion on having Jake Roberts come back and. Well, we lost Nick. What the hell?
Yeah.
You good over there?
And Nick apparently fell into the fan.
Well, while he's fixing that, yeah, let's get your opinion. What's your whole opinion on Lance Archer and his comeback, or I guess his appearance in AEW?
So, I mean, from Jake the Snake Roberts, because this is my first introduction to him, he cuts a hell of a promo. It's like he's great on the mic. And I just would love to see what Lance Archer can do in the ring against someone who's not just, local jobber.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, of course, Lance Archer, Griffin, if I recall correctly, you were actually here when we watched Wrestle Kingdom 14.
Yeah, part of it.
Lance Archer had that match against Jon Moxley. I don't know if you were here for that match. Was it the Texas Death Match or whatever they had? But that was Lance Archer as well. So you, if you were here, you did get a chance to see him. He's fantastic in the ring. It's just a matter of ingratiating him with the AEW crowd now that he's back from New Japan.
Yeah, just make sure that we kind of know who he is.
And
at this point, okay, I know who he is. Show me him.
Exactly. And I do like the way they've been using Jake Roberts, I will admit. They haven't been forcing him down our throats. His appearances have been sporadic, and when he does, they're using him in the way like with Authors of Pain and what was the guy's name?
Paul Ellering.
Paul Ellering. In fact, that he cuts the promos. He's kind of like this mysterious, shadowy figure, but he's not just, hey, I'm doing everything. He's not like Paul Heyman, where like he's just in your face constantly, which I appreciate that. My name is.
I feel like Jake Roberts is such a good match for Lance Archer, too. Like, not that I don't think Lance can talk, because he's cut a couple of pretty good promos, but, like, Jake Roberts is insane on the mic.
Yes. And then we get Cody's retort. He jumps back on commentary, all sweaty and everything, shirtless from his last match. And he says, well, I respect Jake the Snake, but, he's not really what wrestling needs right now. This is not what wrestling needs right now. The kind of the smarky, jaded veteran, that's not what we need. And I don't want to sound like the classic bitchy babyface, but I don't want to be whiny, but Lance, you've done nothing in AEW. I mean, you have no body of work in this company. You don't start with somebody like me. But I'll tell you what you can do. You can debut next week. So, kind of pulling the rank card, if you will. Like, Cody is still, in charge. He's playing the role of, I don't know if you want to call it general manager or whatever they're calling him on AEW. Chairman, I guess, is his thing. So
EVP.
EVP.
Vice President.
Okay, so yeah, he's playing that role. So yeah, he's like, you can debut next week. But he's kind of like, Cody is still kind of that like mixed where like, he's cocky. He's got that cockiness to him. So he's like, you don't start with me. Like you start at the bottom like everybody else.
Cody does say at the end, you'll get your match. You'll get your match with me. Spoiler alert, you will get me.
Yeah, but you got to start at the bottom
you got to start at the bottom
like everybody else.
Yeah, go beat up on the librarian, and then you're way up.
We'll debut you on Dark next week.
Yikes. Then
So we go ahead and move on to the next match. I assume that's the transition you were making before I cut you off.
no, I was going to go into the Darby Allin promo, which
Oh yeah,
that's something. So it's all, the classic Darby promo, all black and white and mysterious, and Darby's talking in this one. He's drinking a little bit of the bubbly, except not really. It's like a bottle with like a piece of paper wrapped around it that says a little bit of the bubbly on it. He says, Kip Sabian, I don't see anything super bad about you, but I'll tell you what, I've gotten too close to super bad people. Obviously talking about the Inner Circle, and he's actually got pictures of the Inner Circle. He's wearing one of them, and he puts them on the table, and he says, Kip, you're nothing but a sacrifice for the sins of the Inner Circle. He pours a little bit of the bubbly on the table, and then he sets that bitch ablaze.
gasoline.
So,
Yep. Bye-bye.
Wow. I love Darby Allin.
So Darby Allin is absolutely great, and it was an interview. I can't even remember the source of it, so I'm so sorry. But he did an interview recently, and they asked him what really brought about his character promo work, and he said, "You'll never guess, but I sat down with Chris Jericho and had a conversation." And Jericho was like, "Dude, just tap into yourself. Like, you are a weird, quirky little dude. Just be you. Go out there and do some weird shit." So, of course, Darby Allin's like, okay, well, Chris Jericho's been in this business for 30 years. Let me see what I can do. And that's when we started seeing some of these really creepy vignettes become even more creepy.
Yes.
So we can all thank Mr. Jericho for that one.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if it was him or if it was Sammy Guevara, but wasn't it Cody had made a mention that one of those two were trained by Booker T, if I'm correct?
Sammy
That
Guevara,
was Sammy,
who was from the Houston area, was trained by Booker T.
Okay.
Or he claims he was trained by Booker T.
Yeah, I know Tony was like, I've never seen Booker T do any of that. But, yeah, so we get into this match. It's Kip Sabian versus Darby Allin. I'll let you kick things off this time, Nick, if you'd like.
Well, I mean, these guys are awesome in the ring. Kip Sabian's a little bit more towards the British strong style, but he still has a little bit of that flippy-dippy, if you want to call it, in his style. He's a fantastic wrestler. Unfortunately, he's really been marred by this storyline with Penelope Ford, and I get that they're trying to build her because the women's division is really just not as strong as it needs to be. But at the same time, it's like, look, Kip Sabian's a fantastic talent. You could have latched somebody else onto Penelope Ford. I mean, I'm not saying, like, throw her with the librarian or something, but, like, latch somebody else onto Penelope Ford. Now, the one thing is, there is a real-life aspect to it. As far as I know, Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian are actually dating. So, I don't know. I feel like his progress has been marred in favor of her progress, which I get the importance of. It's just a little bit difficult to take in. And, of course, Darby Allin is just fantastic. Probably one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. As much as, I sit here and I'll name names like Jericho and guys who've been around for 20, 30 years, and I'll talk about guys like Kenny and Cody. When you talk about the next line, you talk about Hangman, you talk about Darby Allin. Those are the top two guys under the age of 25 right now. Sammy Guevara is up there, too.
Yes. Griffin, what did you think?
Well, I think you missed a name on that list. A Mr. Better Than You and You Know It, MJF.
You missed the GOAT. You forgot about the GOAT, John Cena.
He's under 25,
I said under
though.
25.
Yeah, under 25 championships.
I mean, not for long. He feels like he's under 25. He feels like he's like an 8-year-old. Bangs his head against the ring post, and like 5 seconds later, he's like, I'm good, Mom.
I tore my ACL. I'll be back next week.
Exactly. I mean, is Becky Lynch under 25? Would she count?
Go ahead, Griffin.
No, but I mean, I always love seeing Darby in the ring. He's fantastic. Well, I guess for this match, mostly out of the ring, but no, he's always fantastic to watch. And Kip Sabian, he's also good. But I haven't seen enough of him. Yeah, it's a really. I mean, from what I've seen of him, I enjoyed watching him. But I'm more on the Darby train.
That. See, and this, I feel like this all goes back to Double or Nothing, the very first pay-per-view. And one of the first matches, I believe is on the kickoff show, was Sammy Guevara versus Sabian. And that matchup really set the stage for what guys like Kip Sabian, guys like Darby Allin, guys like Sammy Guevara, who are that size, that amount of energy, that kind of talent, can do in this company when they're so young. And while two of those guys, Darby Allin has been out of this world, his match with Cody really solidified him, and Sammy Guevara has been pushed to the effing moon and back as a member of the Inner Circle. Guys like Kip Sabian, he's going to get his chance. It's not so much a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
So, what I took from this match is, what I genuinely take is that Darby Allin is effing amazing. I love this guy. I have a different approach to this from you, Nick, in the fact that I actually like the Penelope Ford, Kip Sabian thing, but if they do it the way that I think they're going to go with it. I liked the way Cody was talking about their relationship when Penelope Ford would interfere in the match and distract the referee. He didn't just call Kip Sabian super bad, but he's like, well, that's what happens. That is the super bad. Like, that's their stable, is like, that's what they do. It's their 1-2 punch, how they interfere in matches. It's kind of like they're both sides of a coin almost. So I like that aspect.
Like the Bella Twins?
Well, I was thinking more, I'm going to go super nerd on you for a second, but I was thinking more of like, the whole Android 17 and 18 thing from Dragon Ball Z. How like their fighting style was, it was just so consistent. You take down one and the other one kind of pops up. And it's kind of that you can't keep your eye on one because the other one's always going to be there. That's kind of the aspect
in your blind spot.
Yeah, and your blind spot. That's I get the reference. Yeah, but that's that's the super bad, is that they're always just one step ahead of you. Now, obviously, they did lose this match because Darby Allin's just that good. But I like the idea of that, of trying to build a tandem male-female duo. I think that's fine. I don't have an issue with that.
I really like the idea that Cody somewhat alluded to, that maybe Colt Cabana has hots for Penelope Ford. Colt Cabana is a hell of a man.
He's great.
I also like the fact that Cody did two things in this match. First thing he did was he said what I've been thinking but never said out loud, and that's that when he looks at Darby Allin, he sees a young Sting. I mean, you've got the fans and the crowd all got the Darby Allin face paint on and everything. He's kind of got that similar, like, dark, broody type gimmick when Sting went to the Scorpion gimmick. So I think the comparison's great. Obviously, their in-ring styles are nothing alike, but you're talking pure gimmick. What?
Well, and again, if you talk about original Sting from way back in the day with the bright colored face paint, the ring styles are a little closer.
Ish, but you don't have Sting doing topes and stuff like that. The second thing that Cody said was when you got the first couple interferences from the Superbad, he was just kind of like, well, the ref's out there doing the best that he can. You can only do so much. But then when it happened that last time, when Kip Sabian was just full on, like, waving his arms, and Penelope Ford gets a hand on Darby, he's like, okay, at this point, no, I wouldn't be surprised if Darby files a complaint to management about the referee. Which, that's realistic. He's like, come on, like, wrestlers would obviously have complaints about this if a certain ref, if in their matches they feel like interference is constantly happening. That's a great idea. Make it seem like it's more realistic. I love that.
Well, and I feel like the important thing is that Cody said it which makes it kind of like fair game now. Like when JR and Taz come back, it's like, we can call out the refs now. If they're doing stupid stuff, it's not just, oh, come on, ref. It's going to be, well, I wouldn't be surprised if they get a little talking to after this match from management.
Exactly. It's not just, well, that's referees. They're stupid. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like it's...
Well, don't nudge them too hard. They'll fall over the entire match.
Yeah, they'll be dead for 10 minutes on the outside of the ring. But also, I love the name of this... is it a finishing move, or is it just the way he ends the match? So it's called The Last Supper, which it's a Gibson leg lock pin combination, which this thing was wild looking, but...
Yeah, and that was really cool looking.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't get me wrong. In 2K, I have definitely made a roll-up a finisher before, because that stuff's just broke in 2K. This isn't 2K. It's cool. It's very, very cool. Well, it's very, very different, and I like it. And it's better than the coffin drop.
Well, the idea is that it's a borderline submission that he turns into a pinfall. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of like when Taker does the tombstone and then he just like does the fold over thing. Like it's kind of like that. It's like, wow, this is how I'm going to end matches.
Yeah, the difference is what Darby's doing is because of the way he's applying the pressure with the leg lock, you would have to do so much harm to yourself to get out of the pinning predicament that most people would just lay there, or you're in so much pain that you cannot get out of it. So
yes, I
think it's a great thing. It's very different for modern wrestling. Not bad.
I mean, it's more realistic. I mean, you see people in matches in that regard in amateur wrestling all the time. I mean, you apply a type of hold and then you just roll them up for the pin. Like, so it's definitely more realistic in that sense. But let's go ahead and move on.
Jake Hager's the thing.
He's got him hurting, boy. He's got him hurting. It's Jake Hager versus Chico. This can't be right.
Adams.
Am I reading this right? Chico Adams. Yes. That should say local jobber.
He just puts him over like he's a part of the company. Like, oh yeah, great debut for Chico Adams. Good to see him out here. Good young local talent. Glad to have him with us. I mean, drew the short end of the straw, taking on Jake Hager tonight, and I'm like, Cody, Chico Adams is not here to stay.
No.
Please stop.
But, I mean, to be fair to this segment, what was important out of this wasn't the match, but it was what happened after the match. So, Jon Moxley comes out. Obviously, Jake Hager wins this match via arm trap triangle submission.
But on the ground this time, as opposed to standing.
Yes, he can do it in multiple positions, apparently. Yes, Jon Moxley.
And poor Chico Adams didn't even have the time to tap out before he was already just passed out in Jake's arms.
So Moxley comes out.
Goodbye, jobber.
So Moxley comes out. They fight a little for like half a second before a paradigm shift. Then Hager no-sells it, picks the ankle of Moxley into an ankle lock. Moxley gets out of that, and then Jake Hager gets out the ring and kind of walks back to the locker room. Or Moxley screaming, you scared? You scared? Why are you walking away? Are you scared? So he then goes on to say that he's medically cleared now, and I told you, Hager, check your blind spot. Then we go to commercial break, come back. Now Moxley's in the back, and he says, you know what, next time, Hager, you're not going to walk away. So, building towards a Hager-Moxley match at some point. Cody did, I like how he was like, well, Hager, you're a little too new for what do you call it, Big Platinum, is what he's calling the belt. So
yes, Big Platinum.
Yeah.
So, on one of the later, by later I mean more recent episodes of Talk is Jericho. Sorry, Chris, I'm a little behind. He actually references how much the belt is worth. We finally get an exact estimate, and Tony Khan said that the belt is appraised at north of $30,000.
Okay.
So the fact that it's made out of platinum, definitely a possibility there.
Yes. All right, so what you got next? We got the Brody Lee promo. As you can tell by my comrades, they're doing the Dark Order hand thing.
Join the Dark Order.
So yeah, we get a promo, which it's come out in a recent hour within this last day that the promo was actually targeted towards Vince McMahon. Dave Meltzer reported that the whole promo was written as a shot at Vince McMahon. So you see Brody Lee and two of his, what do we call them, associates, all sitting there at a table.
His spooky perverts.
His spooky pervert friends, yes. They're eating at a table. Fine dining, they've got steaks and potatoes and just looked like a great meal. But Brody Lee's the only person eating, and he's just sitting there talking. He's like, "Oh, I don't get what's wrong with you guys. Like, we run this now. Don't you understand? This is our company. We do things the way we want." Sitting there cutting up his steak and eating, and then one of the guys goes to actually grab a piece of steak, and he goes, "What the hell are you doing? You don't eat until I'm done. Get the hell out of here." Trying to eat while I'm not finished. And then the other guy sneezes. Brody Lee looks at him and he goes, You freaking kidding me? You kidding me? You just get out of here. Get out of here. So the whole idea is that Vince McMahon, when he goes...
God.
Nick, how? What are you...
I don't know, man.
Nick, what are you doing?
I have a second camera on my laptop that points directly up.
Okay. Yeah, so...
Apparently I'm swapping cameras.
So the whole idea of this promo is that Vince McMahon, when they would go out to eat in WWE, apparently nobody else can eat before he's finished. He has to be the first person to eat. And then also there's been this rumor forever. And actually Stephanie McMahon kind of confirmed it, where apparently Vince hates sneezing. He can't stand it because it's something that he can't control. So...
What?
Yeah.
Sneeze in my presence.
If that gives you a little deep dive into the mind of Mr. McMahon, there it is. He hates sneezing because he can't control it. What a guy.
So this has me thinking, how much of this whole Dark Order thing has all just been a rib at WWE and Vince McMahon? Like, the place you go because you're feeling down and you want to get good and you want to get wins, and only the guys on top of the group happen to shine in the spotlight. Everybody else is just kind of there.
Uh-huh. You got
No.
the exalted one. Even that, come on. The way people worship Vince like he's some kind of wrestling god or something. Come on.
I can't believe I didn't pick up on this forever ago.
I mean, it's hard with the whole spooky perverts thing to get shot at WWE out of that. So, but they're kind of changing it, the way the gimmick's molding and shifting form. So it's no longer just about guys in masks running up and beating people up, but now it's kind of this weird kind of aspect of shooting on WWE, but also it's a cult, so it's weird.
That's a shot at WWE in and of itself, because it is a cult culture over there. I mean, anywhere you go where you are in a business that you believe in that much, technically you could think of it that way. But guys like Seth Rollins treat it like an effing cult, dude. You don't leave.
Well, guys like Seth Rollins are pushed to the moon, though. So it's the thing with them is that's just, you get the ass kissers in every business. I mean, guys that are so far at the top, and the way they're being treated, they're like, why would you ever want to leave? Or they don't want to say anything negative about the company they're in because it might affect them negatively. So I feel like that's where Seth Rollins is at this point.
I'm just really excited to see where this goes. I know a lot of people have talked negatively about the possibility of this being a just rib on Vince gimmick, but it's so funny. It is so utterly hilarious.
The only thing I find funny is that it's, again, I've made reference to it before, but the fact that when AEW was first formed, their whole thing was like, oh, we're not going to do shots in WWE and this isn't a war and blah, blah, blah. And then since day one, like out the gate from the whole throne breaker thing with Cody coming out and smashing with a giant Triple H size hammer, it's just all been shots at WWE. Which, so, little funny there.
If you've listened to the guys, and I mean Cody, the Bucks, those guys will still tell you, we're not fighting a battle, we're not fighting a war, or whatever. You talk to the guys who come over from WWE to AEW. You talk to a guy like Chris Jericho. He'll say, and he has said, it wasn't a war. We started this out to be an alternative to the company we came from, but they made it a war. Guys like Seth Rollins made it a war. He's like, I didn't want to take any shots at WWE because I really appreciated Vince, and I still do appreciate Vince and what he's done for me and for the business. But guess what? His guys are coming after me, so guess what? I'm going to come right back after them. That's why he says stuff like, that was a bad gimmick by bad creative.
I believe it when Chris says that, but just the fact that since day one of the company, they've been taking shots at WWE. So, like, it's... And I also get it when you have the ex-WWE guys like Moxley and Brody Lee come over, because understandably those guys are pissed because they were treated poorly in the company, so they might have some sort of agenda or some type of,
Sorry. Cody.
Well, yeah, but I feel like Cody's kind of moved. I feel like Cody's gotten over that. I mean, after a while. It's been years. I mean, if you haven't by now, I mean, dude, let it go. So, he's achieved so much success on the indie scene now that I feel like that doesn't even matter to him at this point. He has his own company, so there's no reason for him to still be bitter at this point. But I could definitely see how someone fresh out like Brody Lee or Matt Hardy would come over, and which Matt Hardy hasn't said anything negative because he's not that kind of person. But I could see someone like him coming out and just having animosity towards WWE because of the way they were treated. And what I hope is that...
a couple shots.
Ish, but it's not like, coming out and like just blatantly firing on like, the creative team or whatever. Which my whole thing...
Chris Jericho, where he says your biggest enemy was bad booking.
Yeah. Like, my whole thing is this. I don't want to see this company become TNA. You know what the biggest problem with TNA became after a while? It became a retirement home for former WWE guys who were just bitter because they were no longer in the company. And every week it was just, how do we get this segment to be better, to draw bigger numbers? Oh, I know. Take a shot at WWE or say something negative about one of their guys. Just something like that. Or everything has to be counter WWE, like this counter culture. Like, that's what I hope AEW does not become. Just obviously have fun with it. Take your little shots. Do what you got to do. But don't make your whole business, we're not WWE. Like, just do your own thing.
I mean, but to some extent, part of being the alternative to WWE is, hey guys, we're not WWE.
Yes,
so,
but
to some extent, you have to be that.
Well, obviously, that's why I said be the alternative. Like, do your own thing, but don't market yourself just as what makes you unique? Well, we're not WWE. Like, that shouldn't be your flagship. That shouldn't be your slogan. Like, it should be, what do you bring to the table personally as a company, and how are you going to carry yourselves going forward? Which AEW up to this point has done. I'm not saying that they have done it. I'm just saying going forward, as more and more guys exit WWE that are disgruntled and potentially come over to All Elite Wrestling, don't let what happened to TNA happen. And for God's sakes, don't bring in guys like Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan. Stay the F away from AEW, please. Guys like that. Don't let them, Vince Russo, don't let them anywhere near this company. This company cannot devolve into WCW TNA 2.0, 3.0. This has to stay its own thing. But what?
Vince Russo.
Vince Russo is awful. This
Russo.
is a terrible booker.
Judy Bagwell on a forklift match.
Yeah, no. I don't want Vince Russo anywhere near this company. So that's my thought on it. I don't want them to become TNA, WCW, which obviously the comparisons are there. You can make the comparisons because they're obvious, but that doesn't make them the same. Just don't let it become the same is my biggest fear. Because that is what will kill this company, is if their whole mindset becomes we need to take out WWE, then that can't be your mindset. Your mindset needs to be build your company, not take out WWE. You won't win that way.
And that's where Jericho even said, this is a war, but we're not looking to get rid of WWE. No one's getting rid of WWE. That's not happening.
Despite what you said a couple weeks ago.
I give it 10 years. No one is taking out WWE. But we're here to be an alternative. So, we're going to fight this fight. We're going to be the opposite of them, and we're going to take shots, but we're not going to... This isn't the Monday Night Wars where either one of us has the opportunity to buy the competition. The company that AEW has already become is probably worth more than Vince is willing to put into buying his competition these days.
Oh, absolutely. I think at this point, Vince is just trying to make as much money as possible. I mean, he's selling with the whole selling his company, with the blood money to Saudi Arabia, with the Fox deal, you heard about trying to sell pay-per-view rights to streaming services and stuff like that. I think at this point, he's all about the money. He doesn't care about the business as a whole. He's just, whatever I can do to make the most money, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, so before we go off on all too long of a tangent, Brody Lee versus QT Marshall.
So let's let Griffin start this one off. Griffin, what did you think about this match?
Go ahead, bud.
I mean, wasn't QT Marshall undefeated going into this match, if I remember correctly?
No, I don't think he'd won a match.
No, I'm pretty sure he was.
I think his 2020 record is pretty close to perfect because of all his tag matches with Dustin.
Yeah. So no, I mean, he came into this match, as did Brody Lee. And Brody Lee locked out of it after just completely dominating.
Well, okay, so QT Marshall, and Cody even said it, he's getting old, but he is very, very agile for his age. He's very agile for his size. He's a very good competitor in the ring, and I agree with that. And then you see a guy like Brody Lee, and you're like, yeah, and that's why QT Marshall is basically the company jobber, because Brody Lee. So Griffin, this is really your first experience with Brody Lee in the ring. For those of you who don't know anything about him, he's not much of a WWE guy. Actually,
I've never seen WWE.
By the way, QT Marshall's record in AEW is 1-7, so definitely was not undefeated going into.
Funny.
Well, that's his. Yes, this is from March 9th, 2020. So far, he was 1-7. So, where you got undefeated from, I don't know.
I don't remember about that.
No, not at all.
They said something about it.
He's currently on a list for the 10 worst win-loss records in AEW. So.
Well, that's, okay. So yeah. I was mistaken there.
A little bit. Just wanted to continue. I just wanted to throw that out there. He was very much not undefeated. Nick?
I asked Griffin what his thoughts were on Brody Lee.
Yeah, well, you were saying something at one point.
Yeah, I said that Griffin's not really, he's not a WWE guy, so this is his first opportunity to see Brody Lee in action. So I just asked him what his opinion of Brody Lee was.
Oh, yeah. I watched him in the ring, definitely very powerful, and I can't wait to see him, start doing actual matches. He definitely did the, Daddy Eats First, completely dominates QT Marshall. Um,
The one thing that's really cool about Brody Lee, and you'll get to realize this, but Tony and Cody referenced the time he went Eddie, or he went Guerrero, or whatever they called it, and he went up and over the top rope. He's very, very agile for his size, so I'm excited for you to really get to see that this guy is so much more than just your average big guy. And of course, we have a ton of that on NXT, but to finally see some really agile big guys coming to AEW, very, very happy to see that.
I think this was a great first match for Brody Lee. It wasn't someone who's like awful.
It's not local jobber.
Yeah, it's not local jobber. It's someone who has a little bit of a name to them. Someone who's, I mean, granted, again, his record isn't fantastic, but, someone who you could say, okay, he's going to at least be a good warm-up for Brody Lee coming into the company. And it was. It was a good match. It did what it needed to do for Brody, and since, show him as this monster, dominant type. So it definitely did what it needed to do. Brody Lee wins this match with a discus lariat. He does, again, the whole, Sister Abigail intro where he holds his opponent up and then he spins him into the discus lariat. Yep. So, and then after the match, he has one of his disciples, followers, whatever you want to call them, get in the ring. And he drops a mask onto QT. And then they get up and walk out. All right, so we move on to we get a Nick Jackson medical update from Vanguard 1, which they're calling it their West Coast correspondent.
West Coast correspondent.
Yes. So you get to see Vanguard 1 going over to Nick Jackson's apparently incredibly nice house over in Rancho Cucamonga, California. And you see...
Well, I mean, if you lived in Cucamonga, you'd have a nice house, right?
Yes. So they show Nick Jackson working out in his garage. Then he looks at Vanguard and he's like, hey, what are you doing? He swipes at it and then it backs up. So
it practices its social distancing.
Yes, absolutely. So that was cool to see. Nick Jackson's all fine and dandy. He's working out at his home. So good for Nick Jackson. Glad to see he's all right. Next, we get Sammy Guevara versus
Sammy Guevara
versus Kenny Omega for the Triple A Mega Championship.
I don't know. According to Tony Schiavone, it's the Triple A. So
Triple A. I mean, it's Triple A.
I know it's Triple A.
Triple A.
Yes, but it's the.
My favorite thing is that Cody's talking about how Brandy had more emphasis on Kenny's name than mine. What the hell? I think she announced him better than me.
Yeah. So funny.
Not Kenny Omega.
Funny thing was when Sammy comes out, they show Sammy's got a cheering section in the crowd. He's got his friends. He's got pictures or drawings of different people. One is the Captain from Star Trek. It doesn't have a name, just the Captain. Another one is obviously Chris Jericho. And then the third is Brandy Rhodes, who he keeps trying to seduce the entire time. So that was weird. Yikes. So yeah, I'll start this one off. This was a match. This was really good. It's Kenny and Sammy, two of some of the better performers in AEW. Kenny obviously is one of the best in the world, and Sammy Guevara is definitely up and coming. One of the best new talents, I think, in the company. He still has room for improvement, but I think he's definitely come a long way since when he started in AEW. His promo work is fantastic. The way he comes out and just does something different every week, always has fun with it. You can tell that he's having a good time. It's not forced. It's not overly scripted. It's enjoyable. It really is. It's nice. And I I did like the fact that, or excuse me, I didn't like the fact that, though, there was just too many, like, times where he would just take his eye off the ball and go and focus on Brandy Rhodes. Just get back into the match, man. Like, let's just have a match. I did like how Cody kind of referenced the fact that he felt like Sammy isn't looking at this match as a championship match, because, again, it's for the AAA Mega Championship. But he's looking at it more as just kind of a way for the Inner Circle to gain another advantage in their match for the Inner Circle against the Elite. So he probably wasn't taking the match as seriously as he should have. So good way to, again, build a story and tell it throughout the entire match, so that that's the difference between a veteran like Kenny Omega and a novice like Sammy Guevara. He's not taking advantage of the opportunity he has to be a champion in this company, bring another title to the Inner Circle. He's just looking at it as another way to slight the Elite. So great storytelling, great match by these two. Could have been a little better because the in-ring work from Sammy wasn't the best this week, I felt like. Kenny was certainly doing great, but I felt like at least this week it just didn't seem like Sammy was giving it his all, I guess. So that's kind of what I thought about this. What'd you guys think?
They had some good in-ring psychology going on with it, especially with Sammy just kind of focusing on Kenny's hand and more just trying to, talking about just weakening him up for the fight against the Inner Circle. Sammy just continued to focus on that hand and trying to maybe put Kenny out of it so that he can't use it when it comes to their actual matchup at Blood and Guts, whenever that is.
Yes.
And then, of course, there's the V-trigger, the talk about the V-trigger. Cody talking about this is like the best high knee in all of pro wrestling. Like, no one else strikes with their knee quite the way that Kenny Omega does. Looking at you, Seth Rollins. No one strikes with their knee quite like Kenny does. And then
the knee!
The one-winged angel, and it's over.
Yes. There was that one cringy spot where Sammy made out with Brandy, which obviously I'm referring to the picture, the hand-drawn picture, which, I hope that's not how you kiss Sammy Guevara, because, I don't think anyone's going to be hitting you up anytime soon, if that's the case.
They said he's a Spanish god. They never said he was the Spanish god of kissing.
Yes. So next we get what we've all been looking forward to, and that's the Chris Jericho and Matt Hardy face-off in the ring. So
delete that editing.
So Chris Jericho comes out, and normally there's a fan section in the crowd singing his theme song, but this time Jericho grabs the camera and the cameraman starts singing the theme song.
I am a slave to the Judas in my mind.
Yeah,
Is there something for me to save in the wreckage of my life? My life, I become it. Judas in my mind.
Sounded about as good as that. So that's so no, the cameraman sings Jericho's theme this week. So then Chris Jericho gets in the ring and he says he's going to give Matt Hardy a chance to join the Inner Circle. And then Vanguard 1 flies out, which you could the whole time you could hear Vanguard buzzing. So it was like, well, Vanguard's going to show up, which it does. And then Jericho proceeds to cut a promo on Vanguard 1. Talk about range. Talk about being able to do anything that you want in a wrestling ring. That is Chris Jericho. Just the man can cut a promo on an inanimate object. That is what Chris Jericho brings to the table in your wrestling company. It was absolutely fantastic. Talks about how he doesn't like Vanguard Run, but he respects it. And then he asked it to join the Inner Circle, to which Vanguard flies away, effectively saying no to Chris Jericho's invite.
All of the drone Instagram models will hit you up. You will be the most popular drone. We will fill your gas tank with a little bit of the bubbly. Will you join the inner circle?
I can't tell if you're Chris Jericho or Donald Trump.
Will you join the inner circle?
And then it's at this point we find out that Matt Hardy can teleport
Hey!
via the magic of editing. You see,
Very, very bad.
yeah, you can tell because Chris Jericho, his head is like turning to each spot Matt Hardy is going. So Matt Hardy's like popping up in different parts of the arena, finally appears in the front row doing the yes, and then he gets in the ring and he says that due to the transgressions against his allies, the Bucks of Youth, that the inner circle must be broken and deleted. Said he was paying a debt to the Bucks of Youth for bringing him back, resurrecting his broken brilliance. He says, "Maker of pain, you knew I'd come." Goes on to say how AEW represents freedom. It's his Arcadia. That you think that this is Matthew Hardy, but I am simply using this vessel to project my form into your dimension. I am Damascus.
Yes.
What was that, Nick?
My essence.
So then,
Damascus, I am 3,000 years old.
Chris Jericho goes on to talk about how he's known Matt for 25 years. You're the same Matt Hardy that I've known for 25 years. Says that, Matt, you lived in the shadow of your brother. You lived in the shadow of bad booking. And now you're living in the shadow of Le Champion. He says, look, no one's here to chant your stupid catchphrase. To which Matt Hardy replies, no, their essences are here. I can feel them. I can see them. Starts chanting delete. No one's responding, obviously, because it's empty. Chris Jericho again repeats, look, there's no one here to chant your catchphrase. And he says, look, Chris, when you come...
Take off your sunglasses.
When you come out to the ring, the crowd normally chants and sings along to your theme song, but from now on they're going to sing a new song. You fade away and classify yourself as obsolete. Obsolete!
Obsolete!
Sings that a couple times and then goes to talk about how apparently President Lincoln and Martin Luther King are in the arena. Didn't know they were wrestling fans.
Well, and you have to remember, when he's talking about Jericho, he goes,
They sing your theme song. That what is it called? Judas. I knew the real Judas. Judas turned his back on me too.
So this is just peak goofy, but I love it. It's all
this is brilliance.
Yeah, this is the broken gimmick. This is what everybody wanted in AEW, and you're getting it. So great job from Matt Hardy. Great job from Jericho to just not lose it and keep his composure doing this entire
and
gimmick.
Jericho, I'm going to ask you one more time.
Will you join the inner circle, or are you with the elite? Delete! No. Inner circle or elite. Delete! With the inner circle or the elite. Delete! Delete! Delete!
So then they start going back and forth. Elite! Delete! Elite! Delete!
Delete! Delete! Delete!
At the end of this, Jericho slaps Matt Hardy. Hardy retorts. And then Sammy Guevara smacks him from behind. They start ganging up on Matt Hardy, but then out come Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes, who were sitting on commentary this whole time. They rush the ring with steel chairs, beat up on Sammy and Chris Jericho. And then as Sammy and Jericho are retreating to the stage, Matt Hardy can control fire as the pyro goes off, full Kane style. So
Yes. So apparently Matt Hardy is Kane now.
yes.
Well, hold on. Maybe that's the demon that possesses Kane. It's Damascus. Big brain thoughts.
Maybe. So, Griffin, this is your first time seeing broken Matt Hardy. What did you think?
Well, it's my first time seeing Matt Hardy at all. It was definitely very goofy. Took me a bit to get past that. Still not fully used to the goofiness that is professional wrestling. No, but it was really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the ring. But yeah.
Well, this is the fun thing. So the broken gimmick has always been very magic based, but if you're a WWE fan, you don't really get the clench on that because we never got the broken gimmick. We got the woken gimmick, which was broken light.
I don't think WWE fans have any problem with magic. I mean, Undertaker, Kane, Finn Balor. That believability has never been WWE's strong suit. Let's be honest.
We never got the grasp. We never got the chance to have the full broken universe. The woken universe was significantly toned down.
I mean, yes, but to a point we did. I mean, we got the match with Bray Wyatt at the Hardy compound with the deletion. It wasn't the final deletion, but I forget what they called it in WWE.
The absolute deletion or something.
Something like that. So I mean, they dove into it a little bit. I just don't. Vince obviously just didn't get it, so we never explored it further than that because Vince, Almighty Caesar, Vince McMahon, just never truly got the gimmick. But I don't think it was a problem of fans not. I mean, you saw the pop every time this guy came out. It was.
I never accused the fans of anything. I just said we never got to have that in WWE. It was toned down in WWE. I mean, the dude talks to a boat. Come on.
I mean, he did that he did do that though. I mean, we had the whole chair of wheels bug deal. So I mean, yeah. I mean, but no. So this is where pro wrestling is at its peak goofiness. This is where when people talk about wrestling, the older heads talk about, oh, Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker. When they think pro wrestling, they think goofy stuff like that. This is what people would think about when they think goofy pro wrestling. They don't think what I'm watching normally, which is more of the matches like with a Kenny Omega, Johnny Gargano, stuff like that, where it's more just a professional, like almost pseudo-realistic type bout. Now, this is like people flying around and teleportation and demons and spirits. Like, this is all just... This is turn your brain off and just have fun. And that's what the broken gimmick is. So it's definitely
but
not...
I'll tell you, if they do it as well as they did it in TNA, and God, it hurts to say that they did something well in TNA, if they do it as well as they did it in TNA,
Impact
it will begin to feel real. It will begin to feel like, holy F, this stuff is legit. Like, the final deletion, stuff like that, felt real, and it shouldn't.
I mean, I guess everyone gets a different vibe from it. I never got real. I got, wow, this is almost like a movie. Like, that's what I got. I got, like, this is very entertaining, like, from it.
See, but that's the thing. I look at it this way. Like, after the final deletion, Brother Nero became so much more powerful. He became such a better competitor. Both men did after each of their broken steps. So as we saw that, it kind of went, I know it's booking. I know that they're just booking them stronger because of what happened. But, like, it starts to get in your head, and it's like, all it took was that, like when we talk about all it took for Daniel Bryan to revert to his old persona as a match with The Fiend.
Yes.
Well, I mean, really, what all it took was WWE booking saying after the match with The Fiend, we're returning you to this. But in your head, as a wrestling fan, you go, it was as a cause of the match.
Yes. Well, and I look at it more as like, I see it like if you're, we all grew up, well, at least me and you watching like the older wrestling, coming up with stuff like Kane and The Undertaker. And as a kid who doesn't know any better, you look at that stuff and you go, wow, like that's so cool. Like you think this stuff is real as a kid growing up. I mean, you actually believe Taker can control lightning and Kane's a demon spawned from hell who can bend fire. So you think about this stuff growing up. So yeah, so I could see like as a kid if you're as an adult or a parent, if you're trying to get your kids into pro wrestling and you look at a gimmick like, the Broken Universe with Matt Hardy, this would definitely be something that you could get kids into and they could take a liking to. And just because it's just that sort of weird out there that it's entertaining enough to where it can grasp kids' attentions a little more than just your standard wrestling match. So it definitely has a place in pro wrestling. I hate the people that are like, well, this has no place in wrestling. Come on. Like, this has a place in wrestling. Wrestling is inherently silly. Come on now. We see grown men come out oiled from top to bottom in spandex and tiny trunks, and they do the graps for 10 to 15 minutes and try to oversell things. So, wrestling is silly. So you can't take the moment wrestling dies is when it tries to take itself too seriously. So I love gimmicks like this. I love seeing things like this. So, and it's not for everybody. Not to say that you have to like it just because I like it, because not everybody loves the broken gimmick, and that's what I'm interested to see from you, Griffin, is over the next couple months when you get to see more of Broken Matt Hardy and what he does in AEW, what you take from this. If you begin to latch onto it more, if you go, well, this is just too goofy for me, I can't buy it. Which
I got to see more of it before I come to a conclusion. Absolutely,
yes. I mean, it'll definitely be interesting to see what your opinion is a couple months from now. We'll revisit this topic and see what you think. We're back. We had a little bit of technical issues there on Nick's
with
side.
that change of scenery.
Nice to see you guys again.
He's now on the bottom. The Griffin and Nick have swapped spots, but that's just kind of what happens.
Oh, hi Nick, how's it going?
It's to keep you guys on your toes, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick's face just popped in the middle of the screen. That was weird, but. So yeah, that was AEW tonight, and it was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Takeaways, gentlemen, takeaways. Griffin, as per usual, since you're the guest, you're new. We'll start with you.
Takeaways. New guys that they introduced last week. Building them up into the company now. I can't wait to see where they go. Can't wait to see what happens with them. And then obviously really excited for the Moxley-Hager match whenever that happens. And I think we can all use a little more Cody on commentary.
Absolutely.
I would agree with that entirely. I texted you guys immediately as soon as I saw Cody on commentary, and that is my takeaway tonight is that Cody has a future in this business, not just in the ring, not just as an EVP, on the mic, anything he wants. This kid can do anything.
Absolutely. I thought the match, while the matches weren't like amazing or anything tonight, don't get me wrong. I mean, I thought that the match with Sammy Guevara was a little The Cody match with Jimmy Havoc I thought was really good, but it wasn't about necessarily 5-star classics tonight. It was about just building storylines, and none of the matches were bad, like, at all. Like, it wasn't just like throwing whatever at your screen and saying, here, enjoy it for 2 hours. It was actually still them putting on decent television, and it's all going somewhere. So I appreciate AEW consistently trying to provide us with real quality entertainment instead of just reruns and bullcrap each week. So Round of applause for me from AEW. Hats off to you guys. So, we're going to go around here. Matches of the night, or match of the night. Griffin, we will start with you.
I'm going to go with Darby versus Kip Sabian.
Nick?
Unpopular opinion. I'm going to go with Kenny Omega versus Sammy Guevara.
Okay.
I actually rather liked that match, and while, yeah, there was a lot of out-of-ring focus, it's just Kenny. Kenny, dude. Kenny brings it every night.
Absolutely. I am going to lean with Griffin and go Kip Sabian, Darby Allin for my match of the night. It was close. I could have actually gone Cody, Jimmy Havoc as well.
Yeah, that would have been my second choice.
That would have been my second pick. And I don't think that the Sammy Guevara match was bad necessarily, especially with Cody on commentary providing all the insight. It was fantastic that way. The storytelling was amazing. I definitely preferred what I got out of Kip Sabian and Darby tonight. So I think that's it's going to be my match of the night. MVPs, gentlemen, this time we'll start with Nick. What is your MVP?
Well, it's not the guy who was editing the segment with Jericho and Matt Hardy, that's for sure.
I'm over here. Hey.
Get some junk cuts in here, you know?
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, Matt Hardy, MVP.
All right. Hey, this week he actually would deserve it. Griffin, who you got? MVP for AEW.
I think for me, it's really clear. There was one guy who had a great match and then did great commentary on every other match. It's got to go to Cody to me.
Hey, so that is where I am going. Me and Griffin agree again. Are you sure your team fight? Maybe you can come over to the dark side here, buddy. 'Cause
Talking about team fight mode is the dark side.
Yes, so Cody is my MVP. It's like you said, he was in one of the matches and it was a really good match, and then all night, man, on point on commentary. Can we replace Excalibur with Cody? I don't think anybody would complain about that.
I like Excalibur.
I love that Cody even makes reference to that. He goes, "Now I'm not up there with JR, but I think I can put myself over Excalibur any day."
Oh yeah, I mean, of the three commentators you have on AEW with JR, Taz, and Excalibur, he could definitely take Excalibur's job, and I wouldn't complain about it. So, All Elite Wrestling, fantastic job per usual. And now we move on to NXT, which was back at Full Sail this week. So, and they actually put on a real show, and you're giving thumbs down. I don't know why. It was a great show this week, I thought.
It was not bad. I liked the show. I don't know, man. I've become such a stan at this point. I don't know.
Have a little journalistic integrity.
I never claimed to be a journalist. I went to school to be a historian.
So, NXT, as I said, live from Full Sail Arena. We had Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton on commentary. So, not a bad duo. Still not a fan of Byron. Never really have been. But Tom Phillips is just better enough to where I can tolerate it. I'm also not a huge Tom Phillips guy, but mainly because he's just Michael Cole 2.0. So, but, I mean, I'll take him over Michael Cole, and I'll take him over freaking Beth Phoenix. So, that works for me. So, we get the announcement right out the gate that TakeOver Tampa has been canceled. So they just kind of
Some might say that TakeOver Tampa has been deleted. Sorry.
So I guess this is.
I saw my spot and I went for it.
My first thought when hearing this was, wow, Vince McMahon took his opportunity to bury NXT and he ran with it. He goes, oh, coronavirus problems. I don't really like NXT anyway, so 2 nights of WrestleMania. What, sir? What about TakeOver Tampa? Nobody cares about that. What people really want to see is WrestleMania. So NXT go bye-bye. So, yeah, we lost TakeOver Tampa so that WrestleMania, which is apparently the show that's too massive that we couldn't contain it in one night. Rolling my eyes every time I hear it. So that's
Do not take shots at our 2K
How
universe.
dare you?
I got it from Wrestle Kingdom.
How dare you? But yes.
No, I'm saying that Vince copied us, so you know.
It wouldn't be the first time Vince got something from our 2KU.
Yeah.
But yes,
If
TakeOver
only take the good
Ciampa.
ideas.
TakeOver Ciampa has been canceled due to
Cody's been taking all that.
TakeOver Tampa has been canceled due to WrestleMania becoming a 2-night event. So instead, all the matches that were scheduled to take place on TakeOver Tampa will now take place on multiple NXT episodes over the next coming weeks. So that means we're going to be getting really good episodes of NXT coming forward because, you know, pay-per-view level matches are going to be happening on your television sets every week. So, but just wow. First of all, this whole situation already sucks if you're a wrestler for NXT because you weren't going to be doing it in front of the massive crowds for WrestleMania weekend. But now you're just not even getting the opportunity altogether to get your own, like, thing. Now it's just, sorry, make way for the real stars. Like, that's what this whole thing smells like to me. It's just Vince McMahon, once again, giving not only Triple H and NXT, but the NXT universe giving them the finger and saying when we chalk up everything, this is still my show, this is still how I run things, and Raw and SmackDown are where the big boys play, so that's what takes precedent over NXT, which is it's just a damn shame. NXT's come so far, and you've done such a good job this past year of building them up as that legitimate third brand, to what many people, including myself, see as the A show in WWE, and then to sell their show because you want to put on 2 nights of pre-recorded, no-crowd WrestleMania BS is honestly just pathetic, and it's a shame. So Vince, you should be ashamed of yourself. Whoever his yes men are that are agreeing to this crap, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I just feel bad for the wrestlers and the fans because we were robbed of a great night of wrestling. Obviously, we're still going to get it in the next couple of weeks, but we all know it's not the same thing. It's not the same for us. It's not the same for the performers. So it just sucks. It's a bad sign. It really is. So that was what I got out the gate. I was angry out the gate coming into this episode of NXT. I was already angry. What's your thoughts on this, Nick?
It's disappointing. I'm upset that we're not getting TakeOver Tampa, but at the same time, no pay-per-views really matter right now. We shouldn't be doing WrestleMania right now. We should have canceled and postponed the whole darn thing, but Vince is too stubborn, and ultimately it's his decision to make, so rather than going the way of the wrestling fan or going the way of Triple H or going the way of anyone who gives a damn in wrestling, he just gave us all the finger and said we're doing 2 nights of pre-recorded WrestleMania. I mean, it's Vince being Vince. This is why I just have basically given up on WWE product that's not NXT.
The sad thing is, too, is that they've shown they can reschedule it because they moved the Hall of Fame ceremony to SummerSlam weekend. So that in itself shows that you can reschedule things. You didn't have to do WrestleMania and TakeOver. You could have moved it. But, I mean, it's whatever. It sucks. Again, it's not fair to the NXT crowd, to the NXT performers. It's really not. But that's what we've got with from Vince McMahon. So they dropped that bombshell right out the gate of NXT this week, and then we went right into a match. So it was Austin Theory. His name is Austin Theory. His name is Austin Theory. In case you didn't hear me the first time, his name is Austin Theory. Oh, I'm saying this because that's how many times they said his name throughout the match. Like, it was just all Austin Theory throughout this entire match. Versus Prince Pretty, Tyler Breeze. And, yeah, I'm making a joke out of it, but they were just, like, hardcore, just on and on about Austin Theory in this match. I mean, I get that he's the new guy, that you're trying to force him, not force him, but you're trying to build him up. But you are forcing him down our throats on commentary. It sounded like it was Vince in the booth tonight, force-feeding lines to the commentators, which that's what you get when you get Tom and Byron. So, wasn't a fan of the way they commentated this match. I did like how NXT this week, again, took notes from AEW, although this is something that was unique to NXT, is the fact that doing the matches, they were almost cutting promos like in the ring, like you could hear the guys
talking trash.
Yeah, like full on, like going back and forth talking crap. Like it was really nice. It added that extra level of competitiveness and genuine feel to what was happening in the ring. I thought it was good. I liked that little stuff like that. I liked that. WWE more of that. Again, this week for NXT, they had the hard cam sitting facing towards the stage, so not just a shot of the empty arena. So they're learning
all those empty seats.
Yeah.
Look at how many people can't come to this.
Yeah. So NXT and WWE are learning in that regard. Obviously, the main roster show is learning a little bit slower than NXT, but NXT definitely picked up on that note. Although, to be fair, we didn't see a match last week, so we can't really say NXT is learning because they didn't really do anything last week besides promo work. But, yeah, so that was what we got out of Tyler Breeze and Austin Theory, just talking crap to each other. Austin Theory was pretty much in control the majority of the match. He was talking about, one of the things he said was that he was like, Tyler Breeze, you've been in this company how long? 10 years? Come on, man, you're the past. You're the past. And then there's one point in the match where Theory kind of like hypes himself up and he keeps uttering over and over again, flash in the pan, huh? Flash in the pan. Almost like a mantra, like a chant, just repeating it over and over again, saying it while he's beating up on Tyler. And then he grabs a cell phone, and Byron had actually made note of it while Austin Theory was walking to the ring, that he had a cell phone in his hand. He was like, well, maybe he forgot to put it in his locker when he was on the way out. But no. He takes out the cell phone and begins recording a video mid-match.
Okay, Sammy.
Yeah, while he's got the man pretty much beat, like he could end the match right there. He takes the time to shoot a video mocking Tyler Breeze, and that's actually how Tyler ends up taking advantage. He hits the beauty shot and gets the victory, steals a victory out of the jaws of defeat from Austin Theory. So.
Austin Theory.
So, beautifully booked match, I thought, from NXT tonight. Great job from Austin Theory and Tyler Breeze, the way they did this match. Tyler Breeze, I always love seeing him. It's always a pleasure to see him on NXT television. And I know he's kind of starting to get up there. Now, he's not old by any means, but he's definitely reaching. I mean, he's had 10 years in the business, so at least in WWE, so he's getting that like veteran status, if you want to call it that. But he's nowhere near being done. He's still fantastic in the ring, and his chemistry with Austin is really nice. So, beautifully booked match, I thought, from NXT tonight.
I'd agree entirely. I think it was a fantastic match, and I was just happy to see Austin Theory putting on a fantastic show for the non-existent at the time NXT universe back home.
Yes. Also, by the way, I do want to make note of this. If you guys are wondering why Griffin's not giving as much input, or if any input, it's because Griffin only watches All Elite Wrestling. He just within this last year has gotten into professional wrestling, so that's why I said
my first pay-per-view was Double or Nothing. So.
Yes, so that's why we've brought him in as kind of an AEW correspondent. I am going to get him into watching some NXT in the near future, but for now he's just as an AEW guy for now. So obviously he's not going to have really anything to say regarding NXT. So just in case you guys are wondering why he's just kind of floating there.
I'm
not really
here for color commentary and my snarky remarks. So.
All right, so let's get into our next matchup, which is Killian Dane versus Tahuti Miles. So going into this match, I immediately thought it was just going to be your average squash match. Oh, who the hell is Tahuti? You know, sounds like a jobber or whatever. Killian's going to squash this guy. But no, Tahuti, first of all, he got an entrance, like a good entrance coming out to the ring. He's got legit ring gear on and everything, so that was a little different. I was like, well, maybe not. And then he gets in the ring and he is actually putting on a decent fight against the larger competitor in Killian Dane. He got a couple of strikes in there. He looked fantastic, very athletic. They talked about how he's ex-military and a former collegiate football player, so that's where he gets his athleticism from. And you could see in his ring gear he kind of had the pants he was wearing had camouflage on it. So he looked really good in the ring. I was impressed with this guy. And obviously, Killian Dane wins with a Vader bomb, but I wouldn't mind seeing more of Tahuti. He's of the newer people I've seen. He looks like he could actually turn into something pretty good in the future. I wasn't cringing when watching him. I wasn't like, get this guy off my TV. I was like, I want to see more. So that's a good sign always when I come out of a match for the newer guy and go, I want to see more. I like what I'm seeing. So good on you, Tahuti Mouse. What'd you think, Nick?
I fell asleep. I saw a guy who I've never seen before and went, dev talent. Night night.
You didn't go back and watch it?
Why would I go back and watch a dev match?
So you could watch and find out that it wasn't your average dev match and be informed on what we're talking about?
I read all the articles. According to this, it says, Tahuti was a typical squash match for Dane. Tahuti is a charismatic wrestler with potential, but he's not an active competitor yet. He was sloppy in the ring, certainly not meant to give the Beast of Belfast any kind of real challenge.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bleach Report, for the assistance on that.
Well, I'm going to tell you what you told me a couple weeks ago when I fell asleep during a match. Maybe you should actually watch so you know what you're talking about, because I completely disagree with Bleacher Report on that. He wasn't sloppy, at least from what I saw, and obviously he's not going to win the match because you're trying to build Killian Dane, but it wasn't just your typical, oh, let's throw this guy in there and let him get killed. No, he actually had a pretty good match, I thought, as for being a squash match. So I thought he looked fine. I was very impressed with this guy. So I do recommend going back and actually watching so you can see who could potentially be a future star in NXT going forward. So you never know with these guys. So
I liked his entrance. I liked his backstory. It was literally as the bell rang that I just went, nap time.
Yeah. So next we have Cameron Grimes versus Tony Nese. And I'm not going to lie to you.
Grimy.
Yes, sir. Let's get grimy. Not gonna lie to you, Kevin Grimes is growing on me. I've said it before, I'll say it again, he's growing on me. I still don't get the gimmick at all, but my problem with him has never been his ability in the ring. Still not my issue with him, and he's got this like quirkiness about him that's almost like endearing in a sense, so it's kind of like, I don't know, I don't hate the guy. So that's good, I guess, is that I don't hate him anymore. I just, like, I'm not going to sit here and say I want to see more, but I also I'm no longer, oh God, it's Cameron Grimes, like, let's skip forward. Like, no, I actually, he brings a certain entertainment value of some sort to NXT, and for that is a good quality. So it was nice to see Tony Nese on NXT. Again, NXT incorporating more and more of the cruiserweight roster into their shows each week. But Tony didn't have a prayer in winning this match at all, even though it was a very competitive match. But if you know anything about booking and wrestling, you knew Tony wasn't going to win this match. But they certainly tried to make you think that he was. But in the end, Cameron wins with a cave-in, kind of out of nowhere, and gets the 1-2-3. So they still got Cameron looking strong after his loss to Keith Lee for the championship a couple weeks ago. So they're not like just, oh, he's gone, shoving him off the card. They're actually still trying to keep him looking strong. So, and Tony Nese, again, is no slob. I mean, that's a former cruiserweight champion. So that's a big win for an up-and-comer like Cameron Grimes. So, again, I like the match. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the match. I did catch a decent portion of it. It doesn't matter how good he is in the ring. I'm still not sold on Cameron Grimes. They need to go ahead and do what they did with Husky Harris and go ahead and make him disappear for a couple months and figure his crap out.
Well, I guess my difference with that is that Husky Harris was, and even Bray Wyatt, is not fantastic in the ring. But you don't watch Bray Wyatt to see what he's going to do in the ring. You watch him because of his character. At least I could say Cameron Grimes is good enough in the ring to where it saves him from not being get off my TV levels of garbage. Husky Harris was just bad all around. His character, his in-ring ability, I was like, I don't want to watch this guy compete. So I think that's where I draw the line in terms of how, like, you can't just, like, okay, for me to say you're awful, get off my TV, you have to be bad in the ring and have no charisma. Does Cameron Grimes have a great gimmick? No. But to say the guy's not at least trying, he's not putting effort in his gimmick, like his character, and trying to be charismatic. Like, he's trying, it's just a bad gimmick to work with. So, I mean, he's doing the best with what he's got, and I appreciate that. At least I can appreciate the effort. It's not just going out there and, hey, I'm fat and I can wrestle.
Okay, no one could get that gimmick over.
Well, what's Cameron Grimes?
You get Bray Wyatt, the Firefly effing Funhouse, and he made that over.
Exactly. So now the next match was going to be, if you were going to fall asleep during a match, I would have understood this at first when it was announced. It was supposed to be the returning Aliyah, excuse me, I got that wrong. It was Aliyah versus Zia Lee, which I can't stand Zia Lee, so I was already like, oh god, here we go, and no one cares about Aliyah, so I was just like, oh no, oh god. And then, before the match even takes place, Zia Lee is found attacked backstage, crying, which her tears, she was a really good fake crier, like, my god. Props to you, because you made me feel bad listening to her cry about her.
Full disclosure. I heard what the match was, fell asleep, woke up at the end and went, what the F happened, and had to rewind because I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, so I'm like, as soon as I found out Zia Lee was injured, I was like, oh, okay. Wonder who's going to come out. And then it's announced by the announcer it was Greg Hamilton who announced that, although later during the interview it's somebody different, so don't know. I guess they have multiple announcers chilling at NXT, but at least it's not the one girl. I can't stand her. But, yeah, Greg Hamilton goes, well, actually, you're going to have a match against this person, and making her return, ladies and gentlemen, Io Shirai is back on NXT. I sat straight up in my chair. I was ready to go. I was like, well, that's my girl. I love Io. My God, it's great to see her back. And she killed Aliyah, as she should have. It wasn't a long match. It was fast, short, sweet, to the point. Beat her down, made her look like light work, and then wins with the moonsault, the perfect moonsault for the win from Io Shirai. And she qualifies now for the number one contenders ladder match. So, So good to see Shirai back. So happy that she's in this match. Now I have a reason to watch it. Besides, obviously, what's her name? So, Tegan Knox. So, fantastic. Oh, and we find out something actually later on. And that's that. Remember how we were talking about a couple weeks ago how we're not sure how Dakota Kai is going to fit into this whole ladder match situation with Tegan? Like, well, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner with this. What are they doing? We should never doubt NXT because they had a plan, and that's that it's announced that there is going to be a last chance a second chance gauntlet match for a chance at qualifying for the women's ladder match. It's going to feature all the women that have lost in recent weeks that didn't pick up the victories to qualify. And the match is actually going to include Xia Li, who didn't even get a chance to fight in her match. And it's also going to include Aliyah, who did lose. So that's obviously, if you're a betting guy, I would say put your money on Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai.
Yeah. That's where my money's going if I was a betting guy. So good on you, NXT. We should never doubt NXT with this kind of stuff. So next we get a promo for somebody. It's not really made known who that person is. And then next, out comes Keith Lee. He comes out for an interview with said unnamed announcer. They did say his name, but I didn't catch it. I don't know if you caught the name of the guy. So he comes out and he apologizes to Dijakovic. He says, I assumed it was Dijakovic who attacked me. When I looked up, that's all I saw was him standing there, I assumed, taunting me with my North American title. So I believe I owe you an apology. Right on cue, out comes Dijakovic, who makes his way to the ring, says he doesn't want an apology. He wants the North American title. He says, Keith, you already know I would never attack you, but you attacked me. And then out comes the attacker. Out comes Damian Priest. And he mocks both of them. Says that, look, guys, I don't care about any of this. I just want the title. I don't even really care about the title. I don't want it for, making a name for myself or anything. I just want it because I want it. Because I'm not doing it to prove any kind of hard work or anything. But because it's going to equal more money, more women, more fame, the tired, heel tropes, yada yada. So then inevitably they all fight. Dijakovic, big man Tope con Hero, wipes out both Keith Lee and Damian Priest. And then it's announced later that there's going to be next week a triple threat match between all three men for the North American Championship. So we all knew this was going to come to a head. It was going to feature all three men in some sort of capacity, and we get the announcement tonight. So that's going to be a great match. Again, we're getting some sort of variation of Keith Lee versus Dijakovic again, but I can't complain because it's a great match, and you get to see more of Damian Priest, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's one of those fight forever scenarios. I'd love to see Keith Lee and Dijakovic share a ring. Those guys have great chemistry, great in-ring psychology with one another. It's going to be interesting to see how Damian Priest plays into this. Obviously he's a fantastic competitor in and of himself, but it's going to be interesting to see how he plays into the already great chemistry, the already great setup of Dijakovic and Keith Lee.
Yes. And speaking of fighting forever, we're going to get into what happens later on at the end of NXT. Before I do that, we get a message from the now longest reigning NXT World Champion in history, Adam Cole, baby, who is on vacation. And He says, "Look, I've done a lot of firsts here. I've won the first War Games match. I was the first North American champion, and I am the longest reigning NXT champion in history. So, no, Velveteen, you're not going to fight me, but next week or whenever, I'm going to challenge you to a match to fight Bobby Fish. And that when he beats you, he proves that you never deserve to be in the same ring with me. It's going to be dream over for you, Velveteen, and that's undisputed." So we find out after that the match is official. It's going to be Velveteen Dream versus Bobby Fish next week. So that's going to be a match. I don't think I don't know if we've ever seen Velveteen versus Bobby Fish. I could be wrong on that. But that could be a first. So interesting to see how these two work in the ring together, what kind of chemistry they have.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I don't get it. I mean, I get the whole throwing down the gauntlet and trying to evade the challenge, but, like, we don't want to see Bobby Fish and Velveteen. We really don't want to see Kyle O'Reilly and Velveteen either. We want to see Roddy Strong and Velveteen again. Maybe not, like, right now. We want Adam Cole and Velveteen. We want the match.
Yes, we want it, but with TakeOver being canceled, they're trying to space this out now as long as possible and build it up. So because you don't need to have the match like within a week now because of the cancellation TakeOver, now you can take the time to, do even more build and really get people hating Adam Cole and really wanting Velveteen to get that match. So, plus again, for those that were like, well, what has Velveteen done to deserve a match against Adam Cole? Now again, you're getting that. Now it's like, okay, Velveteen is now taking out members of the Undisputed Era. He's gonna get some wins under his belt. So, I mean, it's all justified. I'm okay with it.
It makes enough sense to me, and of course, with a long-term booking decision, I mean, we all know I'm not the best at long-term booking decisions, but
really,
in the case of a long-term booking decision,
hold on. One of these days, we're gonna show you guys a little in depth into our 2K universe, and we'll let you guys see what Mr. Creation over there has, what he's been doing on his show, and then you guys can decide
some of the best storylines in the history of wrestling. But then, like, 15 seconds into this creation, I'm like, I'm gonna change it real quick. I'm gonna throw a hook in there. Remember that one guy who was a member of this stable? Yeah, I'm gonna replace him with Chris Jericho.
Let me just give you guys an example so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from here. Imagine someone the equivalent of Fandango beating Brock Lesnar. That is what happened on his show.
Not fair. Not fair. It's not the equivalent of Fandango. It'd be a little bit closer to Tyler Breeze, but still a little good.
Yes, it's the equivalent of Tyler Breeze beating Brock Lesnar.
This guy who is like Tyler Breeze is apparently a transcendent talent, which we didn't even know, because the CPU took him to a victory in a 6-man elimination match with 5 of the most ridiculous.
Yeah, this guy beat the equivalent of The Undertaker, Kane, John Cena, like just all like think of the top number one guy. Yeah, he beat Brock. Like think of the top number one guys in wrestling right now, like massive, big, sweaty men in WWE. That's who this guy beat.
And it wasn't us. It wasn't a booking decision. The CPU did it for me. So, lo and behold, he's a transcendent talent. So,
yep. So, that guy right there, that's Mr. Long-Term Booking, Mr. Creation over there. So, of course. Okay, so
I had the long-term site to take the title off some bum who wanted it at our WrestleMania event.
Oh, come now. Like, it wasn't a joint thing there. Like, we did both come up with that from day one. I don't want to hear that. Hey, Nick, I'm thinking you should beat me for the title. Okay, let's do it.
I think my favorite thing. So we have what's called the wild card briefcase. It's like Money in the Bank, and we were talking about, well, we only have one. We have the two brands. Who should win it? And I went, oh, you're not gonna like my answer. He's like, please tell me you're not gonna say that you should win it and take the title off of me.
Yep. So
thus I did.
we'll have a longer conversation about this at some other point. But let's jump back into NXT here. So once again, we have Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch teaming together. They return and they're facing the what I'm gonna call the new TM61. It's Shane.
It is. It's TM62.
Yes. Yes. That's perfect. So it's Shane Thorne and some massive feller from Australia by the name of Brendan Vink. Already an upgrade from whoever the other TM61 guy was. Nick Miller's. Pardon me. I'm not trying to show disrespect. I just didn't know his name off the top of my head. But this dude's a massive upgrade. I already care more about this new tag team than I ever did about TM61. Just because look at that ham hock. He is a massive human being. So that's a big boy. So yes, it's Oni and Danny versus Shane Thorne and Brendan. This was a very good competitive matchup, as obviously you have the tag team prowess of Oni and Danny versus a former a tag team specialist in Shane Thorne, who is known for his tag team wrestling. Obviously, he's with somebody new, but when you're somebody new is the equivalent of the Australian Brock. Like, yeah, you can do whatever you want in the ring. So
that's like you've been singing duets your whole life with your mother, and then all of a sudden you get an offer to sing a duet with Christina Aguilera. It's like it's gonna do wonders for your career.
Yes. So I already care way more.
No offense, Mom. I love your singing.
And again, no offense to Nick Miller, but I love this guy. I want to see where this team goes now. Like, obviously, they weren't going to beat Oni and Danny because they've been building this stable now for a couple weeks. They're trying to insert them as the next legitimate challengers for the NXT tag titles. So you knew who was winning this match. I assume, at least. But I do look forward to seeing Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink going forward. That's just another tag team that NXT has. So, excited for that. Oni and Danny win with Oni had the crossface, and Danny Burch had the single leg Boston Crab for the victory there. So, both men, Brendan and Shane, tapped out. So, it was a dual submission. So, really interesting finish to the match. And I'm excited to see where this goes for Shane and Brendan.
Yeah, I think the important takeaway is that, Shane Thorne being a tag team specialist, being with pretty much one guy his entire career, to have another guy come into the mix and him be able to pick up so quickly with somebody else, it shows that he could probably have chemistry with just about anybody. Really excited to see where this new tag team goes.
And can I just say this too? Because I always thought of the two men, Shane Thorne was more charismatic than Nick Miller, who was both men. Don't get me wrong, were like a vacuum of charisma. But of the two,
there was no energy.
No, but of the two, I liked Shane more than Nick. And now you've got Brendan Vink, who's over here talking crap during the match, and he's random Australian slurs. So it was fantastic. I loved it.
And the perfect example for me is when I first started watching him, Travis Banks, the Kiwi buzzsaw. I was like, this dude has no energy at all, no charisma. And now he's starting to grow on me. I actually kind of like Travis Banks.
Yes. Oh, dude, same.
Little NXT UK sprinkled in there.
A little bit. So, next we get Candice LeRae versus Kaden Carter. And when I first heard this match, I was like, "Oh, great! We get to see a little bit more of Kaden Carter. I like Candice, so this is gonna be a pretty good match." And then it went right into a series of rest holds to start the match, and I was just like, "Oh God, no! We're doing this kind of match." Nighty night, Nick. That is what that match was. It was not. To its credit, the match got better as it went on.
Yes, it did.
So I'm not gonna bag on the women because it got better. But my God, way to just tune out all interest to this match in the first 5 to 10 minutes. It was just didn't care.
Whatever viewers you had just tuned to TNT.
Yeah. So. This match ends with Candice LeRae hitting the Gargano escape, which I keep forgetting that's her finisher now because
they're married.
I know. I keep forgetting that, and then she hits it, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, Johnny." So Mrs. Gargano, I forgot. So it'd be better if they had her come out as Candice Gargano, just as a reminder for myself. I don't know.
Because that one guy on the internet can't remember they're married. Candice Gargano.
Yes, because the world revolves around me, right? That's how we do things, WWE, right?
Well, I mean, you sure like to think so.
It was perfect that it lagged right there, so no one got to see that.
No, that was good. That was good.
So next we get.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. So next we get one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, the original bro, Matt Riddle, versus
Stallion Riddle.
What?
Stallion Riddle.
Oh.
Yeah, Stallion Riddle.
Sorry, again, you cut out for a second, so all I heard was Alien Riddle, and I was like, huh? So, yeah, Stallion Riddle.
Ridley? What?
He's Chris Statlander.
So, yes, it's Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong, which all the hard hits and strong style in this match, my God. Calm down, gentlemen. It's not a real fight. What the...
For the record, for my journalistic integrity or whatever it is, he's not dating Chris Statlander.
No, of course not. So Matt Riddle comes out and he's fist bumping the imaginary crowd. I guess I mean, to be fair, if anyone in WWE is going to sense the essences that Matt Hardy's talking about, would it not be Matt Riddle?
It's the Matts. They got those essences sensed out.
Mr. High as a Kite every week coming out and seeing imaginary people in the crowd. It's going to be Matt Riddle.
Bro.
So he fist bumps the crowd. He gives a little fist bump to the camera. And then this match starts, and my God, it's just hard hitting out the gate. The announcers talked about how Roderick Strong's just been in a bad mood ever since this whole Velveteen Dream thing started. Talking about how he's been wanting to do things on his own with no help from the Undisputed Era because he has a point to prove. And you could tell, he just looked angry, looked pissed off the whole match. These two trading shots back and forward, obviously both incredible athletes, amazing talents. Matt Riddle, obviously, with his background in MMA, and Roderick Strong with his amateur wrestling background. So these men, you're watching two legitimate workhorses go at it. I mean, you want to talk about a match that could have gone 30 minutes? This match could have easily. These two men could do 30 minutes in their sleep and not even break a sweat. That was what was nice about this match. This is where you get that legitimacy to where in pro wrestling, and that's what these two brought. Matt Riddle does, though, pick up the victory with the bro Derek, but then he gets attacked after the match by two random fellows, which they did not name them because the commentary team did not know who they were. So they're like, who are these guys? Just two massive big man. Imagine Authors of Pain minus the SWAT gear, and that's what you had. So,
and instead of Paul Ellering, you get Malcolm Bivens,
who I thought when I heard him, I thought it was MVP. I thought it was MVP coming out, and then I saw him, and I was like, that's not MVP. Nope, it's Malcolm Bivens, which, am I supposed to know who this guy is? Apparently, he's not new, but I don't know who this guy is. So, he comes out, and he says, look, while Stallion Pete Dunne is across the planet, I felt that this was a perfect time to introduce myself. Which, Matt, you already know who I am, but I'm going to introduce myself to the NXT universe and introduce you and everybody to the future of the tag division. And then he doesn't give a name for them. So, if that was your whole job, was to introduce the future, you did a really crappy job, bud, because who are they? You didn't give a name or nothing.
Malcolm Bivens is from Ring of Honor? Former manager. He hardly has ever wrestled in his career.
Oh yeah, I'd assume he was a manager type talent, which I'm not gonna lie though, a little disappointed that it wasn't MVP. Who's just been getting like...
He is most well known for his time with Evolve Pro Wrestling. Shocker.
Well, that explains how him and Matt Riddle apparently knew each other, because Evolve. So, wow, you just want to change the name NXT at this point? NXT featuring Evolve Pro Wrestling. So, yeah, I guess, interested to see what happens with this. I mean, again, we don't know who the guys are. They didn't give a name at all, so, and they didn't look that great with their attack. Like, it was kind of a sloppy attack, if I'm being honest with you. So, hopefully
it's Akar and Razum.
Nope. Akam and Razor, yep. So,
Akar and Razum, yep.
Yikes. So, hopefully I just got the wrong... and hopefully this is a bad first impression, and these guys are actually way better than what I'm giving them credit for, but that was just a poorly executed attack. So, we'll see going forward. But we now get into the final segment of NXT, which is Triple H coming out to address the recent fights between Johnny Gargano and Tomaso Ciampa. He's here to address that whole situation, the entire rivalry, and apparently he's here to put it to bed. So he comes out, before he even gets a word out, Tomaso Ciampa comes out, says, look, after 5 years, after everything that's been said and done, that's it. Like, there's nothing left. Bring Johnny out, and we're going to finish this. But then Triple H, he pulls rank. He says, nope, there's going to be no physicality, all right? And I am going to bring Johnny Gargano out. So then Johnny comes out, and he says, Hunter, are you crazy? You want me to get in the ring with that psychopath? After what happened the other week, he tried to kill me. He's like, no. Also, I want to know why I'm being fined for wrecking the Performance Center. When, I don't know if you noticed this, but Tomaso Ciampa was there too. I mean, he was the one doing most of the damage. To which Triple H goes, oh, really? So, yeah, it was only Tomaso Ciampa, right? I mean, Tomaso Ciampa was the one that struck a referee, I guess, too, right? Which we all know that was Johnny Gargano. So, he says, look, you're only still here because of me. If it was up to William Regal, you both would be fired. So I'm not asking. I'm telling you. Get in the ring, and there's not going to be any physicality between you two. Now look, I understand. Me and Sean, we've been there, I get it. But this has to end. To which Johnny replies, he wanted it to end last year, but then Ciampa broke his neck. Ciampa then retorts, says that he wanted it to end, And Triple H keeps trying to get out that this match deserves to be on the biggest stage, but they just keep cutting him off, saying, look, we don't care about that. We don't care if this is on the biggest stage in front of thousands or if it's in a parking lot. We don't care about any of that. We just want to be the face of NXT. Johnny then says, it's me. And I'm going to make Ciampa realize that you are the monster that I think you are. Triple H goes, all right, fine. So when? When do you want this match to happen? Johnny says, 2 weeks. Triple H goes, all right, that's fine. I'm going to pick an empty building. I'm going to throw with a ring, throw a referee in there who's only there just to say it's over. And this will end. I'm going to send you guys a message with a location. You're going to go there. And you're going to end this. Because if it doesn't, you're both fired. And after that, we get some weird promo appearing or some weird message on the screen, not really clarified, and then that's how NXT goes off the air. So it's apparently in 2 weeks we're getting Johnny Gargano and Tomaso Ciampa in what I'm only assuming is an unsanctioned match. Because it's in some abandoned building with a ref who's only there to count the pin or to say it's over. And then this is the end of Tomaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, the end of that rivalry. So
to just say it's over like the WWE fist fight.
The fist fight match.
Yeah, ring the bell.
So I guess this is one of the benefits of having TakeOver canceled, of having this whole coronavirus mess happen, is that you can do something like this where you just throw two guys. Like, I can't wait to see what they do, like where they do it at, and just say, here, have fun. Here's a big empty building. Go at it. Do whatever you got to do, and when it's over, it's over. Like, and you put two guys like that and let them go at it. Oh my God, I can't wait to see what they do. This is going to be fantastic. So, I don't know. What do you think of that?
I thought it was really awesome. I'm really excited to see where this goes. I mean, we've been talking about this for weeks. Ciampa and Gargano. Weeks. Well, you and I have been talking about this for months, off camera too. So, I'm just excited to see it happen, and whether it's in front of hundreds of thousands of people, or it's just the two of them and a referee and some random abandoned Hooters in North Florida. Like, I don't care. Or actually, that'd be Southeast Florida. I have no idea where.
Do it at the Packard plant?
Well, there you go, the Detroit Packard plant, because that would be entirely safe for everyone involved.
Yes.
Not all of the tetanus. So
you could do it at the Palace. It's not fully gone yet.
Oof, that is an empty building too. But we're ready. We are all ready for this, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that promo is for Killer Cross. He still has not popped up on WWE TV. I hope that's what it's for. Please be for that. Or something cool, like, I don't know, the return of sanity. There you go. Except,
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I mean, Alexander Wolf.
Killer Cross.
I was gonna say Alexander Wolf is in Imperium, and
on to bigger, better things.
And Eric Young is pretty much not existent in WWE
Local
at this
jobber.
point. Yeah, so no. The only
Killian Dane is crushing local jobbers.
You know what I got the biggest takeaway for me out of this, which it was like a sigh of relief. When I heard Triple H talking about this is going to end and only one man's going to walk out of this, I thought he was going to do that tired stipulation of whoever wins this match gets to stay in NXT, whoever loses is fired. Like, I thought we were going that direction. I was like, I found out it was just, nope, it's over. I was like, thank God. Like, I am so happy they're not going that route of whoever loser has to leave town. Like, because that's just so played out. So thank you, NXT, for not going that route. And also thank you because that means we don't have to potentially see either Johnny or Tomaso on Raw or SmackDown. So I'm thankful for that in itself. So
yeah.
So match of the night, my friend.
Stallion Riddle and Roddy Strong.
I completely agree. I could have gone Austin.
Hey!
I could have gone Austin Theory, Tyler Breeze, because I loved the dynamic that these two shared in the ring. The way they were going back and forth, talking crap to each other, I thought that was interesting. But no, as a match, it's Matt Riddle, Roderick Strong. How could it not be? Your MVP for NXT, sir.
This is a tough one because there's a couple people. I mean, you'd go with Io Shirai very easily. I'm going to have to go with Johnny Gargano for his mic work tonight. His mic work was just out of this world.
Okay. I'm going to go. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it again because I did it once and I'm not going to do it again. So, you know what? I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go Io Shirai because, God, I love that woman. She is amazing. Seeing her back in the ring, just fantastic. So, I thought about giving it to Tyler Breeze. Not going to lie, I did. Because he's fantastic. He worked his role perfectly tonight. But I'm going to give it to the returning Io. Fantastic return.
And I will be giving a Fight Mode Fighter of the Night award to Austin Theory. Austin Theory came out in fight mode tonight. He was ready to go.
All right.
Is that supported by my chairman?
I can neither confirm or deny based on the fact that I didn't see the match. So
cool. So Fight Mode Fighter of the Night.
Fight Mode Fighter of the Night, sure.
All right.
Let's go with that.
So we're down to the end here. Let's go ahead and talk about show of the night. Get into the war portion of the Wednesday Night Wars. So, Dynamite or NXT tonight? Who you got and why?
Well, I'm going to go with Dynamite.
Yeah, so I hate to break this to you, buddy. You're going to be outnumbered 2-1 here tonight, unless, of course, you
I don't care about
join
Griffin's
the
opinion.
dark side because we have cookies.
Well, Griffin's opinion is obviously, biased because didn't watch NXT.
From the Vince McMahon jabs to Matt Hardy to just Kenny to Cody on the mic. It's gonna be Dynamite for me tonight, dog.
All right. I am going to give it to Dynamite only for this reason. You seem surprised that I'm not biased, unlike some people here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The only reason I reacted that way is because it was actually a somewhat difficult decision for me, despite the fact that I fell asleep during NXT because of the dev match and what I thought was going to be Aaliyah versus Zia Lee. I thought NXT did a really good job, and it was really compelling with Gargano and Ciampa. They always make me tune in.
Ironically, I go the opposite direction. This was not a difficult choice for me at all. I thought Dynamite was better top to bottom from the opening segment to the end. Don't get me wrong, NXT did not do a bad job this week. I loved the closing segment with Johnny Gargano. I thought the matches were great. But from Cody on commentary to just every match building towards, the big picture, which some matches on NXT tonight were just kind of there. That's not fair. I guess every match did have a purpose to an extent, but I don't know. Dynamite just seemed like the better show top to bottom to me. Everything about it just NXT going into that show was going to have to already work a little bit harder than normal to make me care more about it tonight because of how strong Dynamite was, which, don't get me again, they did it, they would have done it had Dynamite just not been that much better tonight. So I think Dynamite takes the cake tonight. 2 weeks in a row, Dynamite's gotten the victory here. NXT though.
3-0.
So yes,
Sweeps 3-0.
yes. Don't and
It's
again,
a unanimous 3-0 decision.
Yeah.
yes. NXT though. I'm glad to see that. That was a nice little experiment we had last week with the entire promo episode, but I'm glad we're back to normal. We're back at Full Sail, and things are as they should be. So looking forward to seeing those takeover matches take place on NXT going forward these next couple of weeks. We're in for some fantastic shows, some great action. I am really looking forward to that. So it's going to be hard to calm my hype down going into these next couple of weeks, because when we see matches like Gargano and Ciampa, better. So,
well, that's going to be on the same night as the ladder match as well. So I can almost guarantee it would literally take them putting blood and guts on 2 weeks from now.
Yes.
For me to pick Dynamite that week.
Yeah, it would take a lot. You'd have to
Tony Khan, take notes.
Yeah, you'd have to either give me blood and guts, or you'd have to give me like a Cody versus Kitty 30-minute classic for me to even consider putting Dynamite over Ciampa and Gargano's match. So unless that
that's what they do. They just do a whole show for Dynamite. It's all they do. It's just Cody versus Kenny.
I mean,
a 2-hour Iron Man match.
They could do it. Oh,
They
yeah.
can 100% do it.
Honestly, though,
if anybody could pull off a 2-hour Iron Man match, it would be those two.
The funny thing is, I kind of see with the way things are going with NXT, I kind of see them doing something similar with the Tomaso Ciampa Gargano match. I see that match going 30 minutes to an hour. I see that being just...
That's the thing with that episode in 2 weeks. It's going to be a 2-match show.
Yes. It's going to literally be Johnny Gargano and Tomaso Ciampa, and then the women's ladder match. That's what that show is going to be. And hopefully the women's ladder match can keep... They better put that match on first. That needs to be the first match. NXT, if you are smart, put that match on first, because nothing is going to follow Tomaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano. Last match ever, nothing follows that. It can't. You got to go off the air with that. So, obviously super excited for that. Looking forward to these next couple of weeks. But Dynamite does pick up the victory for this week's episode of the Wednesday Night Wars. So, we're going to go ahead and get ready to close things out here. Do you gentlemen have any remaining comments? Anything left to say before we sign off here?
Of course. I do have one comment. Would you guys like to play Madden later?
I am down. I don't know about Griffin.
Sure. Yeah, I got nothing better to do.
Hey!
No, but all seriousness, this was a fantastic week for wrestling. And one thing I want to say is, yes, I am an AEW guy. That's where my heart lies. But NXT, you guys have done such an amazing job. When you look at the two other brands that WWE has put forward, and I know we talked time and time again, you should not compare them because they're totally different things. But when you look at the three different things that WWE puts out, you have crap, bookending a show that actually is trying. So to NXT for actually putting forth an effort, for actually putting together a real show, and for actually doing things the last 2 weeks. I am so proud of you guys. I know it can't be easy, especially because you have Vince literally breathing down your neck now that you're in the Performance Center. We've got to be angry.
No takeover.
But NXT, props to you guys. Always props to Dynamite, but to both of the shows on Wednesday for continuing to make me care, for making me call in and do a 2-hour Skype call about wrestling rather than going, yeah, I don't even want to do our show on Monday. Can we just include it in the weekend wrap up?
Yep. By the way, since we're doing shout outs here, massive shout out to two things. First, massive shout out to you guys, the viewers, because your ratings for that last video were fantastic. I know the setup was a little goofy, but you guys are digging the different format here, so we appreciate the continued support.
And there has been tons of positive feedback as well for this setup from you guys. And of course, we'll be returning to the Studio 6 as soon as humanly possible thank you guys for continuing to stay tuned with us in this capacity.
Glad also to see the guys from, whether it be Podbean, iTunes, wherever, glad to see you audio guys coming over also to YouTube and supporting the podcast as well, because I know this isn't your standard format of, or your standard way of watching or listening to our content. So certainly appreciative of you guys of supporting us through YouTube, even though you're going out of your way to do it this way. So massive props to you guys. The second shout out I want to give is to our guest here today. Massive props to Griffin and Spa for coming on to the show today, taking time out of his busy schedule to come on the show and help us out here. We're trying to do different things here with you guys, and Griffin, obviously, who we said is still newer to pro wrestling, but to come on here and give his input, come on here with us. Just massive shout out to you. Thank you seriously for coming on.
Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity and bringing me on as your AEW correspondent.
You're always welcome.
Absolutely. If you have any social media you'd like to promote or anything, go now is your time. All right.
No.
So
I have one thing I want to talk about. Jimmy Havoc, your theme song is still stuck in my head from the first thing that was on the AEW Dynamite.
Yeah.
So props to whoever wrote this. My God, that's so good.
Oh yes.
It's either what's been on replay for the last day has been Jimmy Havoc. For the last 2 weeks, it's been Darby's theme. Can't figure out why. Stuck in my head.
It's funny I don't even know the words, but what's stuck in my head is Jake Hager's theme. It's catchy, dude. Especially the way Jake Hager has no reaction to the song at all when he walks out. It's just perfect.
All right. So while we are currently not available on the Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all the fine places you find your pro wrestling podcast, we will be available there as soon as we're able to return to our usual style. So give it another 2 or 3 weeks. We'll be through. Well, fingers crossed. There's no extension.
No,
it's deadline.
Going to be extended.
Probably longer. Right. We'll see.
But right now, at the very least, 2 to 3 weeks before we're able to return to that. So again, thank you guys for all tuning into our podcast here on YouTube while we're available. It will be available on YouTube, as it always will be, through that period of time. So if any of you are podcast listeners and you're wondering why we haven't uploaded anything different recently, and you check out the YouTube channel and you somehow sat through a 2-hour video, that's why. So it will be available in probably 2 to 3 weeks. We will be able to upload our videos again, but it's really difficult to isolate the audio from a call like this. So at this point in time, we're going to have to just put that on the back burner for now while we continue with YouTube.
Yes. So since Griffin didn't have any social media to promote, I do. As you know, down in the description below is where you can follow the Wrevolution podcast on Twitter, Facebook, as well as our individual Instagram links as well. So make sure to follow us there as always. And without further ado, live from Studio 6, live from wherever Griffin...
bedroom.
Live from Studio 906.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Wrevolution Pro Wrestling Podcast, episode whatever number we're on of the AEW vs. NXT Wednesday Night Wars. I want to say, 11 or 12, one of those two numbers. Of course, my name is Marcus White.
My name is Fight Mode Nick Cavalli.
And I am the chairman of Team Fight Mode, Griffin and Spa.
And as always...
to join.
We'll try that again.
Wow, that one. Welcome you as always
to join the Wrevolution. Hey, we got Griffin on there. That's fantastic.
Have a good night, gentlemen, and everybody who's watching at home. I have had so much fun. My butt is numb now from this awful free time.